relevant MPs to sensitize the general public and also get feedback where necessary. I want to see this opportunity to raise awareness on the need for residents not to fall victim of fake, dubious estate agents and to patronize the registered real estate individuals. Will include protecting the integrity of the file document, backup references in case of unforeseen incidents of fire. Rebate for civil service. The ministry was able to implement the grant of 40% rebate once in service lifetime to 770 civil servants in the state to enable them to have easy access to post ownership. The governor has also approved that school teachers and health personnel in remote areas within the state be considered for allocation of home units constructed within those localities. A total of 120 home units have so far been allocated to this essential service personnel. Job generated through activities of the housing sector, the quantum of construction activities undertaken by the housing sector generated engagement of direct and indirect job opportunities for about 13,749 citizens in Lagos State in the past 6 years. The jobs are spread among skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled labor categories. Total number of direct and indirect employment through housing projects here in year 2024 is 5,287. Total number of households impacted through the Lagos housing estate as of December 2024, 28,507. Capacity development for artisans in the business sector. The ministry has taken the capacity development of the artisans in the business sector as a priority to further improve the quality of job delivery in our construction site. Over 500 artisans will be trained under the Master Craftsman Training Program. This 6-week program usually organized in collaboration with consultants Lagos State Technical and Professional Board was certified by the Nigerian Institute of Building. Subject taught include build plumbing, pipe work, masonry, painting and decoration, carpentry and furniture making, and electrical installations. The retail craftsmen were issued certificates, startup tools equipment, and work gears. Also, there is an understanding that contractors and development partners will keep engaging the services of this trade artisan. Proposed monthly rentals for the scheme policy. Additionally, gentlemen of the press, you may recall that Lagos State government introduced a rent-to-own scheme that allows tenants to own their homes by paying an initial 5% and then spread the payment over 10 years. The success of this initiative encouraged the need to promote the implementation of monthly and quarterly rent to provide support to rent seekers. This will replace the burden of yearly rent payments, especially for low-income earners. Factors impeding the take-up of these initiatives have been examined with the engagement of all direct and indirect stakeholders in the real estate business. I want to use this video to reaffirm the state government's commitment to this program, and that plans are being perfected to effect the pilot pace of this initiative. Challenges faced by the Ministry of Housing include encroachment on state-owned land for housing projects, litigations, issues related to allocation of homes due to limited numbers, inflation trends, issues with grandparents, allottees, and residents. Our strategic initiative that has been deployed is number one, resolving the encroachment and land dispute. The ministry has continued to reduce encroachment on land allocated by the state government for provision of an affordable housing scheme. In February 2025, a long-standing dispute between two families and ministry over a portion of land designated for affordable housing scheme and Shasha was resolved. Over 8,000 meters of land was retrieved by the ministry in fulfillment of a consent judgment by Lagos State High Court as delivered by Honorable Justice Owe Ogala on 25 July 2024. The provision of affordable housing by the state government or investors depends on availability of land, and we are using all available strategies, including mediate on and other alternative dispute resolution strategies, to secure all the land granted to the Ministry for Housing Development. We have also revitalized joint venture partnership. The success recorded in some of our joint venture partnership and the strategic commitment towards increasing housing stock in the state has doubled the state government appetite for more private sector involvement. The state government in December 2024 signed a memorandum of understanding with Access Bank PLC. The partnership is expected to inject 720 units of two-bedroom apartments at Odula and Igogo in Ikorodu division. The project will provide housing solutions for a large number of households at a very low interest rate, single digit, with a mortgage period of 20 years. This ongoing discussion is particularly targeted at low-income Lagosians with a down payment of 10% of the cost. The multiplier economic effect of this project, as usual, will reflect the massive employment of skilled and unskilled construction workers across the housing value chain. This shareful development can only be attributed to the clear understanding and value the state and Access Bank stand to achieve with this valuable partnership. We will continue to explore partnership with financing organizations who are keen not only in providing mass homes, but also in bringing on innovative ideas that will promote accessibility. The ministry has created a full-fledged unit to continuously delve into exploring the use of local materials and alternative technology in building. We will leverage on strategic relationship with the academia and professional bodies in supporting studies into cheaper and alternative building technology to cope with our ever-increasing cost of building components. In order to promote transparency in home unit allocation, the state government will henceforth allocate some of its home through balloting. The process will be observed by independent observers to ensure transparency and fairness. The ministry has also scaled its commitment to the maintenance of all the 52 existing government-owned estates across the state. A total of 30 blocks and available layers in estate in Togo, which was badly damaged by natural disaster, was rehabilitated fully by the state government. Recently, the state government intervened to repair the damaged injection stop station and provide water to carry down on the gardens in the country. Going forward, the citizens of the state should expect the release of more homes. Over 1,700 homes as many of our ongoing housing will be completed and delivered to the people in due course. The various schemes under its construction, just as I said, are located in 5 administrative divisions of the state, will come alive as new community within the locations. In conclusion, the progress in the housing sector in the past 6 years confirms the commitment of this administration to drastic reduction in housing deficit. Construction is ongoing now in all schemes cards, as earlier mentioned. This, coupled with the state government to reduce the barrier to home ownership and bring smiles to the faces of many migrations. Apart from creating decent and affordable shelters, construction workers aided the economic progress of artisans, suppliers, professionals, and others involved at both the demand and supply angle of home ownership. The shared development can only be attributed to the able commitment of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration to add premium value to the housing sector. At this point, we want to use this medium to thank the Governor of the State, Mr. Akinderu Fatai, for his visionary leadership and support for the housing sector in the state. His special devotion to housing development over the years has earned him many deserved awards and accolades. We are grateful to you, sir, and pray that your legacy in this sector will remain as a great testimony of your good governance. I also want to express my appreciation to the Deputy Governor, Mr. Dr. Akinderu Fatai, for his great support and members, and also members of the House of Assembly. I must also acknowledge the complementary role of the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, the Environment and Water Resources, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Ministry of Local Government and Community Affairs, Ministry of Innovation and Science and Technology, Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, Ministry of Finance, Land Bureau, Ministry of Information, New Towns Development Authority, NBIC, and Ministry of the General. Finally, I want to physically acknowledge the resourcefulness of Special Advisor to the Governor of Housing, Mr. Barakat Olunuga Bakari, for our commitment and doggedness in ensuring sanity in the real estate business. My Permanent Secretary, Engineer Abdulhafiz Torola, for his professional and management skills. I also appreciate the MD CEO of LSBC, Honorable Ayodele Joseph, the General Manager of Lagos State Mortgage Board, Mr. Baba Forsyth, and the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Housing, ESB Abdulhakim and Deja Modu. I'm also grateful to all the head of departments and units who work with the state to bring us this far. All our joint venture partners and development agencies who stood solidly behind us in reducing the housing deficit in the state are also appreciated. To the distinguished gentlemen of the media, I appreciate your constant support in the past years. You have not only been promoting our activities, you also helped in setting agenda in line with the realities of our people. We thank you so much. Together, we will achieve the greater results of our actions. Thank you for this.
Commissioner wa sọ ní Yorùbá mo tọ gáfà láti lọ́wọ́ wa láti tó lórí ìlànà kíni tí a ti gbé kalẹ̀ síwájú. Kọmíṣọ́nà ọlọ́lá tí ń ṣe àbójútó ilé-iṣẹ́ ìjọba lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ilé wọ́n sọ àwọn ọmọ wọ̀nyí ẹgbẹ́ oníṣókí. Wọ́n jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé lára ìdojúkọ tí àwọn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ní pé àti onílé ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó jẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ tó gba onílé àti àlejò so ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló ti rí ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó gẹ́gẹ́ bí tí wọ́n fẹ́ máa dé nítorí náà a rí èrò tó pọ̀ ju ilé tí ó wà nílẹ̀ lọ ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n ní pé lẹ́yìn kò jẹ́ ẹ̀rọ tó fi gómìnà wa àti iléeṣẹ́ ní àyà rárá wọ́n ní pé nítorí náà oríṣiríṣi iṣẹ́ ní iléeṣẹ́ ìjọba ìdí ń ṣe lára àwọn nǹkan tí ara akitiyan tó ń ṣe ni wípé wọ́n ṣàlàyé fún wa pé ilé ọ̀tàlénígba-lé-mẹ́wàá 270 housing units ní ẹ̀gbọ́n gọ́dọ̀ ìpín kìíní láti di cluster 1 ní tí ó jẹ́ ilé oníyàrá méjì ó ní iṣẹ́ lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ lé lórí wọ́n gbé bákan náà iṣẹ́ lọ lójú pálí ní ẹ̀gbọ́n gọ́dọ̀ ìpín kejì àti ìpín kẹta wọ́n gbé iṣẹ́ wọ̀nyí àwọn iṣẹ́ wọ̀nyí a parí ní ìpín kìíní ọdún 2026 that's first quarter 2026 wọ́n gbé bákan náà iṣẹ́ tẹ̀síwájú ní Lagos mission hotel Lagos ní Àjàrà ní Badagry ẹgbẹ́ housing scheme ní ìta márùn ní ẹgbẹ́ yẹn náà dáwọ́ dúró wọ́n ní pé ẹjẹ́ káwọn ẹgbẹ́ Lagos ní ìgbésẹ̀ tó wà ní ìgbòho báyẹ̀kù iṣẹ́ náà lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ lórí ẹ̀ wọ́n ní lórí àwọn iṣẹ́ wọ̀nyí wọ́n ní pé ẹjẹ́ káwọn ẹgbẹ́ nítorí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí tó nílé àti àlejò àti àwọn tí ò rí oúnjẹ fi sórí tábìlì wọn ní ilé iṣẹ́ ìjọba ló gbà láàyè wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí rí iṣẹ́ ṣe ẹni tó máa pọ́npọ́n ẹni tó máa kọ́lé wọ́n rí iṣẹ́ ṣe wọ́n sì mú owó eléyìí jẹ́ kí àwọn ó jẹ́ kí àwọn náà wà ní àlàáfíà nípa àdúrà ẹnìkan tó máa fọ máa jáwó tàbí tó pé ilé iṣẹ́ yìí ń pèsè iṣẹ́ fáwọn ènìyàn wọ́n ní pé kò dẹ́kun bẹ́ẹ̀ o wọ́n ní iye ilé tí ilé iṣẹ́ yìí ti dé tó ti fi lélẹ̀ wọ́n àwọn ti kọ́ tó wọ́n tẹ̀ ti fi fáwọn wọ́n ní kó jẹ́ ẹgbẹ̀rún-dín-ní-òjì-lé-mẹ́wàá that's 997 housing units ní àkótán wọ́n ní àkótán wọ́n ní pé àwọn àṣeyọrí táwọn rí yìí tí à ń sọ yìí tí wọ́n ti kà sílẹ̀ láti wọ́n ní pé èyí kò ṣe ẹ̀yìn ojú rere àti inú rere tí gómìnà wa ọlọ́lá ọ̀gbẹ́ni Babájídé Sanwó-Olú àti àtìlẹ́yìn wọn fún iléeṣẹ́ nítorí náà wọ́n dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn gidigidi wọ́n sì dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn alábàáṣiṣẹ́ wọn láti ọ̀dọ̀ special adviser títí dé orí permanent secretary àti gbogbo ènìyàn pátápátá tí wọ́n bá wọn ṣiṣẹ́ nítorí díẹ̀ a ó rí i pé ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ń ṣe akitiyan tí kì í ṣe akitiyan lórí pépà nìkan ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tá à ń fojú rí ní ilé-iṣẹ́ ìjọba tó ń mójútó ilé gbígbé nítorí náà ẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fún gómìnà wa ẹ sì pàtẹ́wọ́ fún kọmíṣánná wa àti àwọn tó máa ṣiṣẹ́ wọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa tá a máa ṣiṣẹ́ ìlú ẹ̀ pàtẹ́wọ́ fún ẹ ṣe púpọ̀.
Thank you very much. That is Adura Baby Ogundeko giving us the summary in Yoruba. I'm very happy that the commissioner is here today. I heard a lot of things. I heard affordable, premium value, descent, professionalism, trainings and appreciation, like he has said. I'm also very happy that the form that we have filled, myself and some of my colleagues, concerning getting allocation. It's being recorded live now that we are going to be getting it. Can we put together for Thank you very much. At this time, I understand that our colleagues in the media profession who have been working with us to ensure that the people of Lagos get the right information are getting ready to get clarifications as it concerns what the commissioner has said has been done. Right now, we are going into the question and answer section. I want you to please indicate, introduce yourself, and let us make it as brief as possible because we have another coming up.
Good morning. My name is Adiola Green, and I report for Western Post. I have 2 questions on Lasrera and one on Lagos ones. The one on Lasrera is about landlords who take law into their hands. And you find out some landlords when tenants they go to the house, bubble the house, remove their properties and lock the house. And then concerning tenants too, there are some tenants that they stay in some houses 3-4 years. They are not ready to pay. What are you doing about it? Sir, you talked in your speech concerning Lagos homes, concerning ballots, because some people complain that they find it difficult to get Lagos homes, and you talked about ballots. Can you speak further on that ballot?
Thank you very much. I also understand that there is a question from a correspondent from Jordan FM. Please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Titila Yabero from Channel TV. First of all, I want to applaud the Lagos State government in its efforts in providing affordable homes for Lagosians. But be that as it may, a lot of people are still out there trying to get these homes. I would like you to tell us how transparent is this process. I know that you mentioned ballots. That's probably a new initiative, but for those who have applied, would you give preference to? Because a lot of people are on this list waiting to get these homes. Secondly, I know that sometimes ago, the state government mentioned that it was building or planning to build an housing estate, maybe for workers at Paja Yobo. I'd like you to touch on that. Then again, the issue of the ongoing projects that you mentioned, I know it's stated in your speech, but for those who have applied in those schemes, like Sombotelo, Badagry, Ibesha, and all of that, I want you to emphasize on those schemes and tell them when to actually be ready. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can we just take one more so that the Honorable Commissioner can answer that part?
Good morning, sir. My name is Kamal Mustafa. I represent General FM as well as Lagos. First is to commend you for the good work you are doing in the housing sector. The first question is, what is the Lagos State government doing concerning housing rent, especially the areas whereby agents are collecting outrageous commissions and agreements, as well as damages, which has made renting house in Lagos very difficult. And secondly, one of the problems of housing in Lagos is the issue of demand and supply. And a case whereby people demanding for housing are much more than the houses available in the state. And whenever I engage you, you also show concern for some of these issues. But we have a report and research shows that there are many houses across Lagos that are unoccupied. Whether it's due to the owner, Japa, or the children don't want to live there anymore after the death of the owner of the house. If you go to eyebrow areas like Kenya, Lekki, Aja, Oba, and the rest, I'm one of them, you will see that they are unoccupied houses. And also, this also stifles government revenue, whereby some of these houses don't pay normal electricity and the rest. So the question is the state looking towards enacting a vacant home tax on empty houses, whereby if you have empty houses, at least the tax would dissuade you from leaving the house unoccupied, thereby ensuring that we have an increase in the housing in the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll pray the indulgence of the Honorable Commissioner to answer the questions now.
Okay. First of all, I want to hand over to SC to start with those questions, and then I will hand over on the other parts of the questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Honorable Commissioners, seated on players, the SSA, and also my dear brothers in the housing sector, and also gentlemen and members of the press. Someone asked a question about landlords taking laws into their hands and also tenants not paying landlords as well too. I'll first of all start by saying that we have recalcitrant landlords and we also have recalcitrant tenants as well too. And what the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority was created for, part of their mandate was for them to mediate between tenants and landlords. There's tenancy laws of Lagos State 2015 that states explicitly the duties and responsibilities of the tenants and also the landlords as well too. If we find the landlord that has moved into locking up a property without giving the tenants due notice, because for a year's rent is supposed to serve them 6 months for you to notify them, quick notice for them to move out of the house. And if you want to increase the rent as well too, you should inform them 6 months before the old tenancy expires. If we find out a landlord has not done that, we can't see everything. So that's why we ask that the public should please come to us and report any landlord that is found wanting and does not serve due notice or in due time to those said tenants. And also for tenants as well too that are seeking that landlords have locked up their properties. Have they been up to date with their payments and their rents and also their service charges and the rest of them? If they've not been, then the landlord has the right to write to us as well to the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority for us to intervene. So we mediate at the agency by calling both the landlord and the tenants, and we also try to find a balance in between so that we can see how we can help and everybody goes on happy. But if it's a situation whereby we cannot intervene, then we refer it to the Ministry of Justice, and the Ministry of Justice then takes up from there. And if they can't handle it, then it's being referred to the courts for them to seek redress at the courts. But we always advise that they seek ADR because that's the easiest. Because we have some cases in court that spend months in court. But with the way we're trying to review the tenancy laws now, we're trying to reduce how long the cases of disputes between tenants and landlords or anything that has to do real estate becomes expeditiously taken care of at the courts of law if we can handle that. And somebody asked a question about landlords increasing their rents exorbitantly and also agents charging exorbitant fees as well too. The tenancy laws that we're trying to review, which we did a few weeks ago at the State House of Assembly now, which I'm sure that we're partners in progress. And because of the fact that we had a protest about 2 weeks ago about this same regard, agents are not supposed to charge more than 10% in total. They are not supposed to charge more than 10%. The law states 10% specifically, between 0 to 10%. It depends on the amount of the rent. And also there's legal fees as well, which should not be more than 10%. So the agent has their duties and the lawyers have their own duties as well, which are well spelled out. As lawyers, we know our limitations. And myself and the Honorable Commissioner and the PS, we've had meetings with the NBA, with Redan, with Naive, with Erican, and also with everybody in the build sector that are organizations regulating the authority and also the profession and registering anybody that practices real estate. And we made them, we understood each other that lawyers have a duty and also agents have a duty as well too. The present tenancy laws, I would love to disagree, but it doesn't state specifically how much service charges and the rest of them can be. So it's ambiguous. So people interpret it the way they want to, but it states specifically that the amount an agent can charge is not more than 10%. So if we find any agent that is charging more than 10%, please do communicate with us at the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority, Block 21, first floor in Alausa, or you can file a complaint on our website at lastrera.lagostate.gov.ng. And we also have satellite offices as well too at some few local governments that will be up and running very soon. And the press will be intimated as soon as those offices are up and running. People don't need to come all the way to Alausa. They can go to their various local governments to make complaints about landlords and agents that are charging outrageous amounts. And then we can wait in and try to see how we can meet halfway. And we're also trying to meet up with landlords as well too about this unreasonable increase in rent. We can't actually tell landlords this is how much you should charge, but we can try to persuade them and have a gentleman's agreement on how we can all be happy. because the Lagos State government will not open its eyes and let landlords or developers make lives miserable for negotiants. We're here to make lives easier for each other. So it's a decision whereby what the Honorable Commissioner has said, that we're meeting up with other MDAs to make things seamless and also make house acquiring, and also if you want to become a developer in Lagos, we have to get permits and all that. So we're seeking how we can speak to other MDAs for us to be able to meet halfway and also make lives easier for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Not a round of applause for her. She spoke so eloquently. And
in addition, we have to also look at the roots of the matter. You recall in our speech, we mentioned rural-urban migration. We also mentioned that it's all over the world. In Nigeria today, all major urban centers have issues. And the issue of landlord-tenant challenge is not peculiar to Lagos. We have in Abuja, we have in Port Harcourt, we have in Kano, all major cities. And just as she said, all we just need to do is to continue to engage. It's a cultural thing. At a particular point in time in our history, we have people paying money. Then at a particular point, you see people moving from monthly to 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, up to the extent that Lagos State government under Governor Fashola had to intervene. And it is the position of this current government that workers do not get paid every year. And one of the challenges, one of the main reasons why we have this challenge is that when you pay 1 year rent with all the challenges that you have to go up and down, at the end of the year when you have to pay again, you may not be able to meet up. And our destination is to find a way to take us back to monthly rental payment. That's our destination. And then you also recall, we made a government made a category assessment at a particular point is going to take off. And the question you ask me is that why didn't it take off? For instance, they will say 1 year after government pronouncement. Yes, you make pronouncement, but when you make pronouncement and when it comes to implementation, there are things that we may not even have envisaged that comes up. We make pronouncement at a point when we will arrange that because we have to work in tandem with private sector, we cannot force landlord to take such measures. Which is now that we are trying to put that into our law, which is tenancy law bill that is now being worked at the Lagos State Assembly. What we discovered was that the initial thing was, okay, if you as a private sector want to take up somebody whose landlord is asking for 1 year payment, you want to pay upfront to the landlord, and the tenant will pay to the financing organization backed by government every month, which we think is a very sincere way of first initially approaching the matter. But the moment you see the money market going up, and we discover that it is now about 20%, 30%, then we are trying to, if we do not slow down that process, we will be creating another problem while we are trying to solve the problem. So if anything that is above 5%, as a private investor, from the tenant, we are also in another way punishing them. So that's the reason why we have to put a stop on that, and we are now trying to work it from the root. And also we have been monitoring in the past 6 months. We have been engaging serious collaboration, trying to be on the same page, to the extent that we are now talking of going to having making our various offices in local government to be alive. We are also talking to the CTA. We are trying to approach it through cultural method. That is culture. We still have landlords who will tell you, I don't want 1 year payment. If I collect the money now, what am I going to eat till next year? And we also have, because when people, if you pay 1 year, even the landlord will finish it in how many. And it's also not good for investment. because it's not those who do for investment, you are expecting that at the end of the year something is coming into your account, and at the end of the year there is this excuse. You have people owing 2-3 years. So that is what we are working on. And negotiations, we have to be very patient with us, because we are starting this from the root, and we have to get the buy-in of all stakeholders, including the CDAs and traditional rulers in their various areas. So we have to encourage this so that we can go back to that. So it's a cultural thing, and we hope we'll be able to get to that. And to talk about the issue of the major aim is to increase the housing stock. Just as one of your colleagues said, when we have supply-demand challenges, a lot of unexpected consequences, people get into it. So the tenancy law is to, and mortgage law that we are working on, is to give confidence to both parties, a clear-cut idea on the process. If you are paying, and how do you approach if there are disputes? How do you approach the matter to quickly settle, so that you as tenant will be confident in the process, the landlord will process, and we also have the buy-in, which the essay was trying to mention, of the judiciary. And the minority justice has also given us assurance that when it comes to tenant landlord matters, they want to make sure that they expedite actions in those disputes. Then to talk about my dear sister Shan has talked about shortages, which we have indirectly answered, and then talk about transparency. If we do not discover that there is need for transparency, we will not be talking about balloting. And when you have pressure in terms of supply, demand, just as I will continue to say that there are a lot of things that we have, it is not always easy to be able to tame such challenges. And the best way is to approach it through things that can be transparent. And that's why we're talking of balloting. And if you look at our history, we always try to make sure so that those who really need this housing get it. If you look at the Lagos mortgage process, you must be a first-time buyer. You must be able to calculate what is affordable. If I have to go to that, is 33% of your income. That is when you say you can afford this. When people say affordable, but what is affordable to me will not be affordable to you. When your calculation is 33% of your income on a monthly basis, or yearly basis, if it's above 33%, then it's no longer affordable to you, because you also have other things to do in your livelihood. So what we are trying to do here is to try as much as possible to be transparent. Then they talk about the Paja or workers building. Yes, you can recall that we mentioned court cases. That land, we have issues with you. We have to move to site. We discover that there are various legal issues surrounding it, and Minister of Justice advised that we cannot go ahead with that particular part. But if you also listen to us, that there are other areas that we are engaging to make sure that everybody is taken care of. We mentioned Access Bank, and if you look at the process for low-income earners at 10%, that bank don't give an interest at 10%. Even mortgage bank don't give, but that is their own CSR. That is their approach that they want to intervene in that sector of the market. and we are encouraging them, giving them all the necessary support. We are almost there. And one area that otherwise we will have been far ahead is because the ministry is insisting. We are talking to our team that the cost must not be above certain limits. And we have to look at how we can work on those costs to reduce it as much as possible so that it can be affordable. If it's at 10%, you pay 10% initial payment over 20 years. You can also see that. And the transparency part of it is that we are not doing it alone. We even, because Access Bank is bringing the money, we are giving them a lot of role to play in terms of using their network, in terms of making sure, because they also insisted that has to be first time buyer. So, and you can also see that for what we said, our workers, apart from the fact that we make sure that we make units available to them, the governor also, as for every of our estate, 20% goes to the civil servants at 40% rebate. So, and not only that, any of those units that we are talking about, if you go out there now, you will see that if you do the calculation of the 2-bed for you in the present day economic value, for you to be able to provide a 2-bed is above 40 million. But the governor has insisted that under his own program, not only that will it reduce, at times it's half of the cost. Half of the cost, because we will do the calculation of the market value at that particular area and we present to him. And the governor has always maintained that for people to be able to benefit, especially for those that we intend to we are targeting, we should make it in such a way that they could afford it. Not only that, we are talking about them, they have some of them migrate to rent to own, while some goes to LBIC to obtain loan for that purpose. Ongoing project, whatever ongoing project that is going on, we have, just as I said, we have in Ekpe, we have in Ideshe, we have in Ajara Badagry, we have in Gonkodo, we have in Shokutedo. The policy of this government is that we don't sell until after commission. That has reduced kind of tension that will arise, and it's always not easy when you have this supply demand thing. That's why you see speculations coming into it. For us to be able to take speculation in this sector, it's a lot of job. It's a big one. And we also seek your support in that regard. Expose anybody, no issue that we have discovered that we have not dealt with. We have seized homes, we have cancelled allocations, because all we just need to do is to look at it, and those who even flouted the rent to home scheme, we took it away from them because they are tenants and they are not owners until 10 years after. So you see some people going underground to even sell. So those are the challenges. If you have any information, approach us, we will challenge or we will take it up. So we have a lot of schemes and estates out there, so many, and you also see that we are trying to maintain the standard. It's not easy trying to maintain those standards, especially when you good for low income hands. A big challenge for, if you are talking about electricity now, the shared amenities is creating a lot of challenges across all our estates. So what are we trying to do? We are also trying to see how we can go solar, how we can make sure that the kind of technology we deploy in the sewage system. You know, this takes a lot of electricity and the cost is high on low income earners. So those are the big challenges that we are facing everywhere. But we are not undaunted. We are determined to continually face the challenges and see how we can solve them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Commissioner, you have spoken so much of length.
He said something about unoccupied. He said something about unoccupied, and he also gave an advice. Then we will look into that. But the truth of the matter is that we have land use charge for any apartment in Lagos that we have to continue to pay, and there are also rules and regulations regarding that. And again, if you really look at it, it is the high net worth areas that will have this kind of challenges. What we have done is to make sure that we try to shift investors' attention away from this high net worth investment. We are talking to people as we speak. We have some of them are accepting this challenge. We have 1,000 that we are working on in the budget. And we not only bring them in, we also try to help them government to government basis with Federal Mortgage Bank and the Ministry of Finance the loan that the Ministry of Finance is also working on. So what we do most of the time is that we lead them to Federal Mortgage Bank to try to assess, and we are making progress in this line. So we can also assure the Russians that we are determined to increase that the stocks in Lagos.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the Honorable Commissioner. So, Commissioner, sir, you permit us to take 2 more questions very quickly. One will be coming in the Yoruba language to address our people in the grassroots.
Okay, my name is Ben Salam, and I my first question, Honorable Commissioner, is about a widow who 12 years ago lost an apartment that was allocated to her. She's the wife of one of the officers who died at a plane crash. Said the state government allocated an apartment to her as a succor for losing her husband. But 12 years ago, where she was staying, the state government had a need to demolish the building because of some structural defect. But since then, she said she has not been reallocated. That even the compensation that we pay to others within that apartment, within that vicinity, she didn't get it. Some of those within that community has also been reallocated. I just want
which community and which scheme?
Yes, I have the details because I can share the details with you. I have all the full details about it. The second issue is you talked about the deficit, the national deficit about housing. Can you give us the statistics about the housing deficit in Lagos? Then lastly, you've talked about it is commendable that the state government is building housing in Lagos. But I observed that housing for low-end people are cited in the suburb, which no doubt will create for the crisis of most of those low-end people who work within the city and we provide housing for them in Badagry and where it goes. Committing to the town, considering looking at the cost of fare and the result of subsidy, it becomes very difficult for them to stay in those areas. So what are you doing to ensure that within the city you also provide low-cost housing?
Thank you very much. You have succeeded in asking 15 questions in one.
ẹ káàárọ̀ akí kọmíṣánná ẹ kú orúkọ tèmi ní ọláìdégò láti ìwé ìròyìn kọ àwọn bàbá wa sọ pé alágbàtà ló máa sọ ọjà dọ̀ àwọn abániwálé àwọn ni wọ́n gba gbogbo owó lọ́wọ́ àwọn èèyàn tí aráàlú ní àwọn èèyàn wọ́n tún wá sọ pé tí nọ́ni bá nọ́ni tẹ́ tó tó nígbà bá wà bẹ́ẹ̀ tí yóò bá tún lè sọ á jẹ́ kó olórí kí nọ́ni máa nọ́ni lọ́wọ́ àwọn abániwálé wọ́n láwọn forúkọ sílẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ ìjọba àwọn ní ẹgbẹ́ wọ́n lè fi wọ́n fòrò ẹ̀ ní àwọn èèyàn lórí àwọn owó tí wọ́n gbà bí àpẹẹrẹ ilé bàbá tèmi ó wà nípàjà èmi ni mò ń mójútó mo fẹ́ gbé síta ní ọdún tó kọjá wọ́n ní ìlà kan ló ṣí sílẹ̀ ó ní 5,000 naira abániwálé tó wá ó ní ó ti lé jù ẹgbẹ́ sí ibà yìí ó ní ṣé ìwọ ló kọ́lé bàbá mi tó kọ́lé ó ti dé kí wàá ní tèmi tí mo fẹ́ sọ ni pé wọ́n làwọn ní ẹgbẹ́ tí wọ́n bá yẹ ti sọ fún àwọn onílé mi pé ẹ má gba báyìí ní kẹgbà nǹkan táwọn náà máa tẹ̀lé nìyẹn àwọn èèyàn ń ké ní gbòòrò ilé tí wọ́n jù àwọn abániwáyé dẹ̀ ni wọ́n fà ìbéèrè mi rèé kí ni ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ṣe lórí àwọn abániwáyé torí wọ́n láwọn ẹgbẹ́ àwọn dẹ̀ forúkọ sílẹ̀ wọ́n dẹ̀ ń ṣe ìpàdé ní oṣooṣù ó ní àwọn tó ń ṣe ayẹyẹ tó bá ti di òpin ọdún wọn tún ṣe ayẹyẹ pé àwọn tà àwọn rà àwọn ṣòwò kí ni ìjọba Èkó ṣe sí ìyẹn ìbéèrè ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì òun ni pé
Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Please a round of applause for our journalists. The really working. Honorable Commissioner, sir. Okay. Let's see now.
Ẹ ṣe kò ní ẹ̀ka sọ gbogbo lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo máa fẹ́ dáhùn sí ìbéèrè tí gómìnà tó wá láti ilé gbélégbọ́ ilé ìwé ìròyìn gbélégbọ́ tó ti wá so mo ti sọ kọjá ní àkọ́kọ́ nígbà tí mo kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà tí kọmíṣánná gbé microphone fún mi màá kọ́ tuntun sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i àwọn abániwálé ni wọ́n jẹ́ kí owó ilé máa mú nígbà míì títorí pé kò yẹ kí wọ́n máa gbà ju ìdá 10% lọ ní owó iṣẹ́ tiwọn lára owó ilé tí ẹ bá sọ pé fẹ́ charge fowó ilé yín àmọ́ àwọn ló máa ń sọ fún àwọn tí wọ́n ní ilé wípé kí wọ́n má gbà iye yẹn tó ti kéré jù ìgbà kan àwọn kan wẹ̀mí lè sọ fún yín pé àwọn association wọn tí wọ́n ṣe yẹn bíi aircan àti aen a ti ṣe ìpàdé pẹ̀lú wọn bí abẹ́ẹ̀mejì abẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́ta wọ́n dẹ̀ fi yé wa wípé àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n ń gba owó tí ò yẹ kí wọ́n máa gbà yìí wọn kì í ṣe ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ wọn èyí tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ wọn tó wà registered lábẹ́ organisation wọn ò lè gbà ju ìdá 10% lọ so tẹ bá rí ẹni tó ń gbà ju ìdá 10% lọ tó bá sọ fún yín kó ń wà ní aircan àbí ẹ béèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ pé èèlò ni wọ́n ní kó máa gbà ní organisation wọn tó bá ti ju 10% lọ èyí tó bá gbà jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ẹjọ́ ẹ kọ ìwé wá sí ọ̀dọ̀ wa ní block 21 first floor àwa ṣàlàyé ibi tó ti ní kó máa gbà jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mo lérò pé mo dá yín lóhùn ìbéèrè yìí ẹ ṣe.
The first question on the issue of the widow that lost apartment, that is what we are saying here. If you have information, I have it. I know we can approach us later. If you approach us, that's why I asked for specific. You have told me do you have specific? Yes. What is the name of the estate? Yes. Yes. Let me. That particular issue we are on it. What happened is that they were allocated. But along the line, there are some of them did not really maintain the properties. At the end of the day, the LAPCA were moved in. If we have the issue of building collapse, there will be problems. But we are working with them, even National Assembly as intervened. And the aim is to make sure that we resolve the problem. The problem is ongoing, but we resolve it. So we can also ask the person to approach our office. You can approach us, look at it, and see how we can bring some. There are so many cases like that we resolve quietly, and people are happy. And no one will tell you that whenever he or she approaches that, we do not listen. We listen and see how we can solve the problem. You mentioned about building in a quiet building. You see, the truth of the matter is this. There's the Lagos State government. We have done a lot of work when it comes to infrastructure. And when you talk about Badagry now, we have been forward thinking. Because on the long run, the mass rail will come in from Badagry. And from Badagry to Marina, you less than 1 hour. And what are we ensuring? First of all, the value of the land is very, very vital. That's one thing. But what the governor has done is this. The kind of facility that you have in the quarry that was sold then at 30 million. When you go to Igbogo, you see the same facility there. Livable and comfortable and also safe. Now, when you talk about moving from there to their place of work, you see a lot of infrastructure work going on everywhere to make sure that Lagos is really connected. All over the world, especially when you talk about urban center, people influence into urban center leads to so many things, speculations from investors. When you put a low income earner in a place that like Yaba or Mushi and Mushi Surulere, you see that by the time you go back there in another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you will be meeting different kind of people there. Reason why is because people, investors, speculators, because of the environment. So what have we done? First of all, we are going to sell low. And Lagos is also, land is our oil, as we always say. If we put in Surulere, we charge properly, market price. If you go to Obele now, Lagos building investment company that finance that project, they are selling at a 2-bedroom at 85 million. But the same amenity, if you go to LKJ in Ibadan and in Gondo, we sold at 10 million. And the reason is that we use that money for those who can afford, to help those who do not have, who cannot afford. So we now go and subsidize the low income part of the sector. That's why we will sell Igbogo the same amenities at 8 million and sell Bori at 30 million and Lekki Phase 1 at 50 million. The same amenities. And we not only stop at that. When they have challenges, we intervene. The body will not call me. Like I just said something about the Lagos homes in Gondo. They just had a major breakdown in electricity and it cost hundreds of millions. They cannot afford that. I get that this school is not ready. The government intervene immediately to make sure that they have electricity almost immediately because they cannot afford it. So it's not that we just throw them elsewhere. We are not only making sure that the transportation system to their workplaces. As far as if you want to go to those areas now, you go to Kerry Ocean, you get a BRT to that area on the educated lines. You have people moving from Mile 2 and the rest to Marina on our rail project. You have the red line now moving to Alabama that is being even extended to the states, and that takes less than 1 hour. So it is not that they are throwing them off like that, but we also have to make sure that we give them things that comfort, and it's like economic things, economic situation, city. You can study city. When come about city and challenges of influence of people into city, there is nothing you can do about speculations. But just for us to be able to make sure that we take care of all segments of people. If you are talking about it, when people working in Lekki and the rest, they will quickly jump at that. And if you see the kind of pressure we have that we should do more in even Badagry, if you see the kind of pressure that we should continue to build, because people want to, apart from that it's affordable, it's also taken out for those around that area, those who work around my two and the rest. So it's not that we are just throwing people away, we are also making connectivity very, very important. Connectivity and making sure that they are properly, they live in a livable environment. So, tí Yorùbá tí mo bẹ̀ fi kún ní wípé jẹ́rí gẹ́gẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹ sọ àwọn tẹ́bá jẹ́ landlord ẹ̀rí kàn jẹ́ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ Ọlọ́run tẹ́bá jẹ́ landlord ó káàpọ̀ ní bùkátà tó ń bọ́ ẹni wàá ló fẹ́ 5,000 ló fẹ́ sọ fún ilé náà ẹ̀mọ̀dáàmù ìṣe ẹ̀ lọ́n ṣe lọ́tẹ̀ yìí ó ti wọ 10,000 láti kó ìlú ṣé ẹni tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ní àdó ni iná àdó ni because it is capitalism na ṣe ṣe rí káàkiri àgbáyé debate ń lọ burúkú àríyànjiyàn lórí ọ̀rọ̀ pé báwo la fẹ́ ṣe láti rí i pé ókè àkọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni pé ǹjẹ́ ó yẹ ká máa build ilé pàápàá àbí ṣé ká máa build ká máa tàlẹ̀ àbí ká máa kọ́ káwọn èèyàn máa rent then ọ̀rọ̀ owó oṣooṣù báwo la ṣe fẹ́ dìkù tẹ́gbẹ́ àwọn èèyàn wọn kò ní wúwo lórí wọn tẹ́ bá lọ ṣe research tẹ́ bá wo inú ìwé dáadáa tẹ́ bá lọ yẹ̀ wò ẹ̀wò iye tí wọ́n ẹnìkan rent lé ní ìlú city London yẹn sí 5 years ago ẹ̀wà wo tó rent sí ẹni pé àgbáyé pọ̀ gbogbo bọ́ọ̀lù àgbáyé ni but ní ọ̀dọ̀ tí wọ́n ń bí báyìí òun la fi sọ gbogbo àwa akitiyan náà ń ṣe ibi tá a lọ gangan òun ní owó oṣooṣù nítorí pé tá a bá fi owó oṣooṣù sí ẹni wàhálà tó ń ṣe lọ́ máa ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹni tí ìwọ́n tó ń retí pé máa sanwó máa fẹ́ lówó ní ìparí ọdún tí ó pa ọdún pé tí ọdún àwọn ẹ̀rọ tí ò mìíràn àwọn kẹ̀kẹ́ tí a gbé owó oṣù ló fẹ́ fọmọ owó léwu ló fẹ́ fi ṣe òòṣe ẹni tó bá gba owó lóṣooṣù ó máa wọ́n tó bá ti sanwó oṣù kí ní oṣù kẹta wàhálà ti dé ọkọ̀ ẹ̀fọ̀ ẹ̀ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní fà láti gbà ẹ̀ tí ní oṣù mẹ́fà àbájú kò máa lọ lẹ́yìn àbáfọ̀ pé wàá dó fún ọdún kan ẹ̀ wá mọ́ sọdún méjì ọdún mẹ́ta so ibi tí à ń lọ nìyẹn ṣé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀ ṣe sọ ìjókòó ẹ̀ ń lọ gidi gan ni bí ọ̀sẹ̀ẹ̀sẹ̀ là ń bá àtúnṣe ìṣe program pàtàkì sí àtúnlọ bá wọn bẹ̀ àwọn tó wà nínú ọ̀dẹ̀ ti sọ fún wa pé àwọn máa fọwọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú wa ní àwọn ìgbèríko káàkiri ìtorí ẹ̀ ní CD àti CDC máa ṣe wà nínú ẹ̀ ìyẹn la fi sọ pé culture because ọ̀rọ̀ ẹni wọ́n pè nígbà tí wọ́n kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nínú kiri ó pè mí ní alọ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ni ṣé ìwọ ló kọ́ lóbi fún mi tí wọ́n máa sọ ní ti máa rẹ́ǹtì lé iṣẹ́ ìjọba ni pé ara ò gbọ́dọ̀ ní ẹni kọ̀ọ̀kan tó bá wà and bó ṣe ń lọ yìí a máa wo bá ṣe máa débẹ̀ ó lè máa pọ̀ sí ọ̀gá culture ẹ̀ ló ṣe pàtàkì nǹkan tó ń fà á ní wípé nígbà tí wọ́n á kéré ilé bàbá mi ní Òṣòdì ní arábìnrin wa bẹ̀ fún oṣù mẹ́ta ṣé mẹ́rin àwọn yàrá àwòrán àwòrán mi ò láìkẹ́ ó lọ wọ́n tó pọ̀ lánàá nígbà náà máa bẹ̀ pé owó dáadáa àyàrá ó fẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí Èkó Lagos àwọn sọ̀rọ̀ ìbò pé is suffering from his success story prosperity Èkó ló ń kó everybody come sí àìsàn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó bá dé nígbà yìí ọmọ pé kìíní ṣùgbọ́n àwa náà tó yẹ láti jẹ́ kó rẹwà a máa try agbára wa láti rí pé kìíní but persuasion tó bá ti wá jọ agree tán àwa gbélé gẹ́gẹ́ bí òfin yẹn ti lọ díẹ̀díẹ̀ ní assembly but afẹ́kájọra máa ṣe lọ lọ́dọ̀ tí wá bí so dábàá ti máa fi rédì òfin náà ti rédì gbogbo àgbà oṣooṣù ní lọ́sàn-án olóògùn ẹ̀ ṣe kan.
Thank you so much, sir. I want to believe you will agree that this has been a very successful, educating, enlightening, and highly informative presentation. And on this note, I would like to call on the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Housing, Engineer Abdulhafiz Ola Abdullah for the vote of thanks. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Commissioner, my big boss, SA to Mr. Governor Housing, our chief host, I know Ministry of Information, they have been hosting various MPAs, they are the chief host. We cannot claim to be chief host, we are just hosts. The PS, my brother, Mr. Chebule, and the other directors in the information family. I will now go to recognize all the stakeholders in the housing family, starting from the MD of the LSDPC, the Honorable in Housing, the GM, the Director, the SSCs, to Mr. Governor, and gentlemen of the media, as the Commissioner addressed, there is no female, they are all men. I want to recognize you. I was asked to give lots of times. I think the Commissioner has done very well when you can grade 27 and 28 by appreciating everybody. I want just to add a voice to it. The job is so easy for me that today we want to appreciate we want to start from Mr. Governor, who has given us the environment to actually work on the housing sector in order to make life easy for our people. Then I said something which is very generous, we have to look at it. That by 2050, 68% of people will move to where? Urban. That's a challenge. This is a rapid urbanization. It does not only come with urbanization alone, people have to live because shelter is the needs of life. So the ministry needs to be worked to be proactive. That's why the Commissioner has told you a lot of initiatives introduced by the Ministry of Housing. And without the support of other NDAs, it cannot be possible. When you look at the agencies under the Ministry of Housing, they have been doing a lot. So we want to thank Mr. Governor for giving us that enabling environment, which is Deputy Dr. Kadri Bafemi and with other commissioners in the various MPA, because I know when you talk about this sector, you don't talk about Ministry of Fiscal Planning. We need to collaborate with them. We need to collaborate with the environment. We also need to collaborate with transportation. Okay, I said something, talk about innovation. What about motorization? They have to get to the estate. These are the factors we consider when we are considering setting up that housing estate. So we want to thank everybody who have been helping us. But we cannot do it alone. That is where we have always been collaborating with our private sector, coming out with a lot of people involved in private sector through the joint ventures. So we want to also appreciate all our joint venture partners and the gentlemen of the media for your feedback. There is no way we can be able to observe everything ourselves. We need feedback for this. So on behalf of I'm still going to say, Honorable Commissioner, the management team of the housing sector, all the MDs, GM, and SSA and SC, we want to appreciate everybody for taking time out to celebrate with us our little success story. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful vote of thanks and the amazing success story. Right now, we will be taking the photographs so that we can record this. In this particular order, the Honorable Commissioners, the special advisors, senior special advisors, and permanent secretaries first. The HCs, SAE, SSA, and PSAs. After that, I will be having the HCs, SAE, SSAs, PSAs, and the general manager.
Television, the voice of Lagos.